welcome, dear It Came From a Monster Movie listeners. You're probably wondering, from the title of this episode, is a bit different from what we usually do here on It Came From a Monster Movie. That's because I'm trying to come up with new content and stuff for you guys to listen to while we work on our main content of the mainline It Came From a Monster Movie film discussions, our Patreon It Came From a Monster Movie film discussions, as well as our Revenge of the Cinema ones as well. There are a lot. And you're all wondering, like, we're bi-weekly, da-da-da-da. Well, fret not, because this is a brand new segment that hopefully I will do better than the Henry the Host commentaries, which they're going to come back. I'm doing a Henry the Host commentary for Godzilla Singular Point to get ready for those who are going to watch it and be like, I don't understand what's going on. And I'll tell you this, I don't either. I'm getting my plasma physicist of a cousin to try and help me decipher some of those elements of Godzilla Singular Point. But welcome, officially, to the new It Came From a Monster Movie segment based off a dream. My dream is to have a little bit of a sideshow house. I want to have a little museum called Henry's Henorium. It's a museum dedicated to the natural history, the unnatural history, and the supernatural history of our world. And last year was crazy, and I'm feeling better from last year. And I want to do more things that make me happy, especially since I've been working on Apex for the past 2-3 weeks, and it's like, wow, I miss doing this. And you know what else I miss telling people? Fun facts. And what better way to do fun facts than doing Henry's Henorium? So welcome officially to It Came From a Monster Movie presents Henry's Henorium, a audio museum to the unnatural, supernatural, and natural histories found on our planet. And how this is going to go is for 30 minutes, I'm going to tell you guys some fun facts about certain things that are related. What's going to be really fun is the fact that I am going to tell you guys all about our first episode ever. If you haven't listened to it for some reason or another, our first episode is probably a very influential episode. It wasn't groundbreaking, but it's definitely the core of what Zach and I tried to make and eventually accomplish. Our first movie we ever did for the podcast was the 2018 film The MEG, which, if you've ever wondered, because we didn't have the grading system there yet, it's a B-. It's a B- movie, which is very fitting for it. The MEG, for those who haven't seen it, is a group of scientists exploring the Marianas Trench encounter the largest marine predator that has ever existed, the Megalodon. And, that was a movie. I actually saw the film in theaters in 2008, which is actually a very dear memory because it was the first time I got to hang out with my niece. So shout out to Nevi. And because of Nevi being her uncle, I'm also now her great uncle because Nevi has a wonderful child. That I'm not going to say because it's a podcast and you guys don't need to know my great nephew's name. I think that's how that works. But the Meg, it's giant sharks. It's the Megalodon. It's based off a book by Steve Alton, which was a very influential book as I was a kid. I loved those books, and then I revisited those books, and I kind of forgot Steve Alton kind of has a weird way of writing women, but it's okay. It's good. It was good inspiration. In fact, Apex, like without Steve Alton's writing, I wouldn't have been encouraged to write Apex because I was like, wow, this is really cool. I want to bring monsters from realism to life. And, tip my hat to Mr. Alton. I had a very nice correspondence with him in high school where I kind of predicted his one of his books because I really wanted his creatures from the Loch to encounter the Meg. And then he made his little crossover episode novel, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I could look it up, but I'm going to be lazy about it because, like I said, I'm going to keep it short to 30 minutes. 30 minutes. 30-minute segments from Henry's Henorium. a museum of natural, unnatural, and supernatural histories. Let's see if I ever get those three right in the right order. But anyway, like I said, our first movie was the Meg. It was a B-. We did it January 1st, 2018, all those many moons ago, when Zach came over to my apartment and we watched it together, and we didn't know what we were doing. We just kind of were winging it. And now I have a popular podcast that I've been told has the best business card anyone has ever had. But let's talk about the main creature, the Megalodon. Now, a lot of you know the Megalodon as a giant shark. And it's a prehistoric giant shark with doll's eyes and giant hand teeth. Well, not teeth made of hands, just teeth the size of your hand or bigger. And with my paleontology background, of course, I know a bit of it, but I did refresh my memory a bit, and I'm just going to quickly recite my sources. And also, these are going to be some big recommendations. So, first off, I took some information from the wonderful graphic novel Mammal Takeover by Abby Howard, which, honestly, Abby Howard's whole Earth Before Us trilogy is by far the best easy, accessible, prehistoric life, anything that you can get. They're graphic novels. They're a delight. I love the characters. But what I really love is Abby puts a lot of good work into giving you fun, digestible scientific facts on animals from our prehistory. And it's great. We also have a book that I'm very happy to own, which is the Biology and Evolution and Mythology of Hidden Animals, a.k.a. the Crypticon. I think I said that right. Yeah, Cryptozoologicon, the Biology, Evolution, and Mythology of Hidden Animals. This is a book by John Conway, C.M. Cosman, and Darren Niche. I believe, I follow Darren on Instagram, on Twitter. I did not realize that. Yeah, no. He's at Tetsu. I really mean to message him because he sounds like my kind of dude. But if you're unfamiliar with the book is a really great speculative compendium on cryptids and trying to talk about their histories and how we develop these cryptids, but also there's a really fun part where it's like, okay. Like, we know this isn't real, but if it was real, this is what it would probably be like. And they have a section on the Megalodon, which I took information from as well. Again, great book. They also did a book called All Our Yesterdays. I think I said that right, which is a speculative paleontology book, aka my kind of crack, because I love it so much. But it's well written, it's really fun, and great illustrations. I also took reference from another book to give a quick comparative thing. I also, obviously, Wikipedia'd to just do some quick refreshing as well. I'm already 8 minutes. I need to go a little faster. But also, huge recommendation, I checked out the Eons YouTube channel. If you don't know Eons is a fantastic YouTube channel that PBS does, which is really great sound bites of paleontology, and they have a really great Megalodon video, which is definitely worth the watch. I also took some information from Dinosaurs, Facts, and Figures, the Theropods and Other Dinosaur Forms, written by Ruben Molina Perez, which honestly, this series, Dinosaurs, Facts, and Figures, is like paleontology quick. You just look at it, beautiful illustrations, accurate illustrations, and pretty much leaves nothing uncovered with the dinosaurs and subject. Instead of doing a big book with periods, it just focuses on one family group of dinosaurs. There are 2 books. There's the theropods, and then there's the sauropods. I can't wait for more, and I hope when they do ceratopsians, I get my quills, because I want quills on all my dinosaurs. Feather all your dinosaurs. But anyway, not here to talk about dinosaurs. We're here to talk about the Megalodon. So the Megalodon was first started to swim the seas. And by the way, Megalodon is found in all the oceans, from Japan to New Zealand to the Netherlands to where I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, to where I am now, recorded from a basement in North Carolina. In fact, the Megalodon is the North Carolina state fossil, which is super cool. But Megalodon was everywhere, guys. We know Megalodon best by its teeth. We actually have been able to find remains of vertebra, which help us with the size. But Megalodon was a big shark, guys. Absolutely enormous. We have, in the movie, the Megalodon's pretty big, but in actuality, the Megalodon was probably more or less about 34 feet in length, which is kind of crazy. But what's even crazier still is, this animal was magnificent. It was a wonderful swimmer, and a lot of people go, oh, well, it's just a giant great white shark. Wrong. Oddly enough, we did originally think that it was part of the family of Limammidae, which is the family of fast-swimming sharks like the great white shark, the mackerel shark, mackerel sharks, goblin sharks are even this, which is delight. If you don't know what a goblin shark is, look it up. But it's actually not a part of that. In fact, it probably didn't even look like a great white shark, which is even crazier, and which is nice because the monster we see in the MEG doesn't quite look like a great white shark. So I do, and I think I talked about it in the episode where I did appreciate that they didn't just make a giant great white shark. What it is instead, it's part of the extinct, mind you, extinct. There are none of them in the oceans anymore, of the Odontidae, which are literally the megatooth sharks, which is also another name for a megalodon, megatooth shark. This family of sharks first appeared in the early Cretaceous, which is about 145 million years ago, and oddly enough, like the dinosaurs, you started off small, and then you got really big. By the time Megalodon was showing up, it was about 7 million years ago. Our dumb monkey ancestors hadn't even fallen out of the tree yet. By the time we had our dumb ape ancestors roaming the wilds of Ottavai Gorge, which I've been to, fun fact, very cool experience. I'll talk about that probably in later episodes. Was about 2.6 million years ago, and that's when the Megalodon croaked. But people are still saying they see it. Sightings it's been cryptologically cited first in 1918, and people have said they've seen it in the 1920s, 1930s. There's even a video on YouTube where it's like, it's a Megalodon! It's a Greenland shark! But that's because people don't know that the Greenland shark is literally the size of a great white and a little bigger. It's crazy. But, and most of these sightings were in Australia and the South Pacific, which, funny enough, they're probably actually just sightings and misunderstandings of what a whale shark or a basking shark is. Or the megamouth shark, which is a giant deep-sea shark we didn't know existed until I believe the U.S. Navy off the coast of Hawaii pulled it up by an anchor. And we're like, oh, hello. And it died on deck because don't take large animals out of water. Much like the physics of Godzilla, if something that big came out of the water, gravity would make short work of that. But Megalodon, we don't really know what it looked like, which is fun. I will say, I do like how it's represented again in the MEG. But who knows? It could just be crazy. It could just be a jaw with fins. But this thing ate whales. That's why it got so big. It literally was a whale killer. We know this too because they have found whale ribs with megalodon teeth in them, which is absolutely bananas. And what's even more bananas is in 2008, a group of scientists led by S. Rohr did some bite force studies, and they estimate that the megalodon had a bite force of 108 to 182 newtons. It could crush a car. But luckily, and I mean, that's actually, before I say luckily, for context, think of a great white shark. You got that in your head? You know Jaws? Remember when Jaws was eating Quint? Bruce? Sorry, some people are probably like, you're a monster movie expert. Shouldn't you be calling him Bruce? Whatever. We all know the shark. Megalodon's bite force was 100 times that of a great white shark, which is bonkers. And what's even more bonkers is the fact that spitting distance with T-Rex for bite force. We estimate that T-Rex's bite force is about 57 newtons. 57,000, sorry. 50,000. These are all out of thousands, by the way. But it's also debated that T-Rex probably had a bite force of over 235,000 newtons, which literally would just like crush buildings, which is fun. I'm proud. But, Megalodon might beat it, might not. That information is still debated. But some of you are like, but Henry, you said it's extinct. People have the HMS Challenger, an old ship, pulled Megalodon teeth from the English Channel, and they were only 11,000 to 24,000 years old. No, they were not. So apparently the English Channel has this material at the bottom of it called magnesium dioxide, which slows fossilization. So, nope, Megalodon went extinct, guys. By the time the Ice Age started, no more Megalodon. And we actually know why. So, just a little more backstory. Megalodons grew fast. They grew strong, and they just wanted to eat whales. Whales didn't even have echolocation yet, which is why they were just like, oh, it's a baleen whale. 9 meters. I'm a boss. I'm like 34 meters. I'm going to eat this. Like half. Whales used to be small, guys. Whales used to be small with no fat. And because of that, Megalodons would be born. Baby Megalodons were 2 to 3 meters long, almost the size of a great white shark, if not bigger. And then within 25 years, they would become the streamlined killing machines of the oceans, hunting whales until they didn't. Why did they stop hunting whales? It's because whales changed, because the Ice Age was a crazy time in Earth's history. How crazy, you ask? So, first and foremost, a lot of people believe that, because of the Ice Age, the cold water changed, and Megalodon went extinct because, that. Not really. It's a good theory, but apparently a group of scientists a while back debunked it by doing climate research on the Miocene and the Pleistocene, the time of the Megalodon, the time no Megalodon. And it turned out that the ocean temperature wasn't as drastic as we would believe, and in fact, Megalodon could probably handle itself in cold water up to -1 degrees because, warm-blooded. It's the perk of always moving and having hot blood. But the Ice Age did play a part. Not with the Megalodon, but with other marine life. For you see, whales used to not have fat. But we did develop baleen whales, and baleen whales feed on krill. Did you know that North America and South America weren't always connected? So when Central America was made, the Megalodon probably went extinct because of it. Because the waters of the Pacific and Atlantic weren't mixing, and the krill that the Megalodon feed upon were not as abundant. It actually, their variety of species went down, which there used to be like 60 and plus different whale species back in the time of the Megalodon. Easy pickings. By the time this happened, when Central America was like, hello, we have made the avocado and soon we will have temples and good beer. We went down to 40. So food stocks went down. And not just that, they followed the krill, which went into colder, more nutrient-rich environments which made it harder for the megalodons to follow suit. Because megalodons, as we know it, weren't probably the best migratory animals. They probably just like had pups where they had pups and just ate. So half the year, the main food source wasn't there. And they could try to follow it, but that's a lot of energy because not only that, the whales are getting bigger. There was a whale, guys. So, like, megalodon sees a marine mammal. They're like, yummy, yummy fatties. That's what they were. A lot of good nutrients, a lot of protein. The blubber in marine mammals is very nutritious for large predators like the megalodon. And then a new friend enters the scene. A new challenger. An epic challenger. With the name of Leviathan Nelvi. Some of you who have a literary background might go, oh no. Do I have to call him Ishmael? Yes, you have to call him Ishmael. Because Leviathan was an ancestor to the sperm whale. And it was about 17 meters in length. And it was big and hungry. It ate whales. And it ate megalodon. It was a big competitor with megalodon, in fact. And then, of course, megalodon was betrayed by those closest to it. The great white shark. The ancestor of the great white shark started developing and was faster and sleeker than the megalodon. And so it was being outcompeted. Remember, even though megalodon was big and could ambush prey quickly, marine mammals were either getting smaller and faster or getting bigger and being like, you can't eat this. I'm too big. So the megalodon just didn't know what to do. Like, it was being betrayed by great white sharks. The climate was changing. Whales were betraying it, and whales were trying to eat it. So, sadly, the megalodon did officially go extinct by the time the Ice Ages started. And what is interesting is, while this shark is absolutely phenomenal and just amazing. Like, I'm 6 foot tall in real life. I know. I probably don't sound like it, but I am. The jaws themselves were about 9 feet when opened. So it's an interesting thing that, like, people want, and, like, who doesn't want a prehistoric animal to exist somewhere deep in the Marianas Trench? Definitely not me. Definitely not writing that into a story that everybody's going to adore because it's a cliche, but it's a good cliche. But yeah, the megalodon doesn't live at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, doesn't live at the bottom of anywhere because it needs a lot of food. It couldn't eat whales anymore. This whale-eating shark, whales got too big for it and mean. Whales beat up on it. Whales would eat it. And what's even funnier still is the moment the megalodon went extinct, that's when whales were like, "Hey, we're not getting eaten anymore. We're gonna get big. We're gonna get real big." The blue whale is actually a very recent evolutionary creature, which is wild. So it's like the ocean we know today exists because we don't have megalodon. Great white sharks and killer whales most likely exist because we don't have megalodon. All your favorite sea creatures that you know today probably exist because we don't have megalodon. But, and I'm nearing the end of my time, I might give you a small sliver of hope because apparently great white sharks are growing. They're getting big. 15-footer, 20-footer, 25-footer, full-grown adults. And they grow fast, too. And apparently it's becoming the norm that great white sharks are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So who knows? If we finish killing off the blue whale, the great white shark might start becoming the new megalodon. And then eventually all those megalodon movies where it's just a giant great white shark would become accurate. Isn't that terrifying? And I think that is where I'll end it with our little fun facts about the megalodon. And remember, much like our first episode, this is still in the works. You know, I want to tell you guys all about stuff, but we'll see where it goes. For the time, this will be available everywhere. I think what I might try and do is do half of season 1 free for the public, and then the rest of them that I'll make will be Patreon exclusives, and I'll just do them at the $1 tier because they're fun. I enjoy telling you this, and I hope you have enjoyed this up to this time that I have given you in Henry's Henorium of natural, supernatural, and unnatural history to tell you simply the Megalodon's dead, guys. Move on. There are better sea monsters out there. We don't need this Megalodon here. Like, I'm excited for the Meg 2 as much as anybody, but if you haven't read The Trench, which is the sequel to the book, The Trench is probably going to give us Chronosaurs with gills, and I'm still out on the fence with that one, because why does the reptile have gills? Why do we have to go that route? Why can't we just, make up new species? Why? Can we leave the idea that the Lost World has Allosaurus look like Allosaurus, where it probably would have changed just a little bit? It's like the big thing about the Lost Worlds that drive me nuts, which is why I love the King Kong 2005 world, because they're evolved dinosaurs. Talk so much, a fly went into my mouth, much like that of a megalodon. So again, if you enjoyed this episode of It Came From a Monster Movie presents Henry's Henorium, an audio museum dedicated to the natural, supernatural, and unnatural worlds and histories of the creatures we have seen in cinema, then remember to rate, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Be like, Henry's doing smart stuff. And he's not, well, I'm not cursing, but I think I might be dying because I haven't said the F word in 30 minutes, which I usually do when I go on a tirade. All right, there we go. Done. But yeah, you can follow us on social media at ICFAMM Podcast. You can also follow us on wherever you listen to podcasts. It Came From a Monster Movie. Reviews help, as some of you know. Some people don't like me, so they just are like, 1 star. And it's like, I'm not going to do that to your show because, we have differences. But I'm not going to bully your show so less people listen to it. Excuse me. I just don't understand that concept. And what else? Oh, TeePublic. Excuse me. What is going on with me? This Megalodon just wants to go to bed. It Came From a Monster Movie merch store. You can follow us on Patreon as well at ICFAMM Podcast. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, without further ado, there you go. Some quick Megalodon facts for you folks on the road, or drawing, or just doing whatever, and are like, wow, Henry is smart. I'm like, yeah, no, I have a weird, strange background. I really should have gone with the science route sometimes. But then again, I just really like making stuff up. But again, no, like I said, the resources that I gave to you guys at the beginning, the Wikipedia, the Abby Howard comics, the Dinosaur Fact Book, the Crypticon, all that jazz, and Eons, the PBS YouTube channel, which I just send to people to be like, be smart on dinosaurs and paleontology so I can stop screaming internally when you tell me things and learn stuff. So, without further ado, we will catch you on the flip.